we're not on my channel.
All right.
We're on the Misscliks channel. And we are live.
Are we live?
Well,
'cause I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
Yay for stream delay.
Yay! We did it. We have overcome so many obstacles to be here right now, Gilly.
Hi guys.
Hello.
I'm Gilly. This is Anna.
We're in the same place at the same time.
This is the first.
I'm touching Gilly.
I don't like this.
I'm sorry. I'll keep my hands to myself.
Just kidding. Yay!
Ah.
And this is Eye on the Storm, of course. If you don't know it, this is where we talk about Heroes of the Storm. We usually bring on guests, but we're not going to bring on guests because we're each other's guests this time.
Oh shoot!
What?
We're so meta.
Why don't you take off your glasses?
No, it felt like the right thing to do at the time. So guys, obviously this is not where we usually broadcast. This is not our normal overlay. Nothing is normal. Everything is weird. And that's because Gilly and I are here at BlizzCon opening weekend at ESL Studios, and we just have found this empty room that has an Ethernet port that we don't think anyone's going to kick us out of.
It may happen, it may not. We're rebels. I've got my rebel coat on. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of your rebel coat. I'm in like a prep coat.
But we're in coats for you guys.
Yeah. There's a makeup sticker on that chair because that is the makeup chair in which people get their makeup done for broadcast. And Gilly and I are both involved in the Heroes of the Storm broadcast, of course. Gilly is casting. That's what that's called.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do when you commentate a game. That's casting. And I'm hosting.
Anna's hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing hosting job, by the way, last night. So many accolades for you. It was really cool because we got to do, I'm just going to jump right into it. We got to do like this thing where we actually got to talk to you a little bit specifically, especially that very last set. You were asking questions that then we could kind of throw off from there, and it felt so cool. It was just like much different than in Vegas, and I really liked it.
Yeah, and so what we thought we would do this week is, instead of our normal show format, because that would be a little bit difficult from here, and we weren't even positive we were going to have internet, we just decided that we would record kind of a vlog-style show for you, just answering any of your questions that you had and telling you a little bit about the experience that we're having here as we gear up for BlizzCon. So we hope you like it. And just the normal housekeeping things, if you haven't watched this show before, this is not normally what it looks like. Normally it's a talk show centered around Heroes of the Storm. What kind of stuff do we do on our show normally, Gilly?
Well, normally we bring on a guest and we talk about different things happening in the Heroes of the Storm community and in the game, be it patches or different, community gossip maybe, or things that are happening just in the game in general, news-wise. We also play a game with our guest, a lot of times bringing on a build for heroes so that we can learn more about that hero specifically and how to play them maybe as well. And then we usually close it out with some fun things happening around the community.
Mm-hmm. And this is on Misscliks, which is a channel that's devoted to uplifting and providing support for women in role model positions in geek and gaming culture. And these two women role models, you are correct, we are tired because we had a 12-hour broadcast day yesterday.
Was it 12 hours?
I am pretty sure
1:30.
No, it was like 11 because we started at 1:30 and I think we wrapped at 12:30.
Yeah, it was it was a long day. We had started out with a few technical issues too, and then just switching out the teams took a little bit of time, which is why sometimes we would come back and just be talking about the last match until we could throw to Anna when we knew the teams were ready. So, but it was cool. It was really fun. It was a much different experience with events than I've done. Different even than the Opens, which were still here at the studios, but then also different from Vegas. It was kind of a mix of them both. Yeah,
I wasn't here for the Opens. So what are the similarities and differences between those broadcasts and this one?
So similarities is that when you're in the studio, there's not going to be any crowd. So providing hype is just solely pretty much you and your casting partner. Hi, sorry. I'm like slowly getting further and further away from you. But yeah, it's you rely a lot on your casting partner to help you get hype and just the general hype from the game too, which is generally not a problem for me. But casting in front of a crowd always makes that a lot easier because you can just feel the roar of a crowd a lot more. What was interesting about this though, that was different from the just studio ones that we did for the Opens, is that we still had the teams here and you here as a host. So it was strange because we'd be like, okay, we're ready to get hype, we're going to bring these teams out, but then like, because we were playing music on the stream, we actually didn't play the music.
It was dead silent.
Yeah, it was silent in the studio. So you'd be like, Navi, and then it'd just be quiet.
Except for like the clomp, clomp, clomp of the players like trudging up on stage, and like every once in a while one of them would try and they'd be like, yeah! And then it'd just be like silent and they'd be like, okay, we gotta sit down. But that's the difference between a really professional studio broadcast and something that we do live, which esports we're very used to doing live, we're very used to doing in front of an audience, and I think that the feel at this has been just like very, very professional. We're working with Yellow Light Live, who does this professionally, obviously ESL, who has been producing out of the studio for a while, so there is this air of like, we kind of made it, esports.
Yeah.
Like we're getting to the point where our broadcasts are the level that you would see in a studio in the LA area.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And another thing too is even when they're introducing the teams, a lot of times we would say the team name and then there'd be a video that would play and we would hear the audio and it'd be this cool kind of like, you know, awesome, get pumped, get hyped song. Yeah, that would play, especially that, that open, that would play over our headsets still, but not all of those did in the case this time. So normally I rely on those and I'm like, oh, this song's awesome and yeah, I get to cast this match and oh my gosh, these teams, and it just like from there just perpetuates. But this, it would just be completely silent and I'd be like, this is, what? Oh, okay, they're walking out now. It's still, everything's fine. It's just much different, but it was cool. It's a good experience for sure.
Yeah, and actually I was thinking you guys may, because you don't get to come and watch these kind of broadcasts, you may not know a lot about what it looks like in there. So I was thinking maybe we can tell you a little bit about what the set actually is. It's a room in an old warehouse that's been converted to a studio. And there's that back wall and the two side walls that are art. And tons of lights, obviously, and so there's kind of three sections of the same U-shaped stage where the casters are on kind of the left-hand side, the teams are on the back side, and then I and the interviewees would be on the right side. And then there's cameras, tons of cameras this time. Like, I mean, we work with a few cameras, but this is a lot of cameras, and they're the big. I had a really good time because we've got a jib, which means a camera that's on kind of a big crane type thing that moves around really smoothly. That's how they get those big swoopy shots. And this one, for some reason, just struck me as looking like a friendly dinosaur. And so Gibosaur,
like a Brontosaurus?
It was called a Gibosaur, a Gibosaurus, yeah.
Oh, great.
And so Pat, the camera operator, and I had a great time discussing what noise, because I decided a Gibosaurus made that kind of sound.
Sounds like a dinosaur sound.
These are the things that happen when you have an 11-hour broadcast day and you have to keep yourself on and excited and, talking to Gibosaurus as opposed to the normal audience.
Yeah, things got a bit loopy.
Yeah. A little bit.
Especially in the back room during, I'm thinking specifically of the Cloud9 match where they played Team Dignitas. And I can't remember, we were just laughing at certain things, the way certain people would say things, especially I don't know, some of the other casters, like they would make a joke, by us, and somebody would say something, and we would laugh way too hard. Yeah, and like true. Anytime you laugh way too hard, and you're like, this is not that funny. Why are we all like, we can't breathe because we're laughing so hard? That's when you know it's been too long of a day. And then we had to go on and cast after that. So
yes, and Gilly actually casted the last match of the day, which was killer. I think we probably want to save talking about the actual matches and like the teams and the way that the results happened till the next section of the show, if you will. But just talking about what it was like to be in the studio, I don't know if you guys know this, but Gilly actually stands up when she casts. In fact, most casters do. So she's standing over the desk and she's looking down at the computer like this, and she's going like this. You can't believe it, they're going for the car, oh my God. And she's just so animated, and that's how she keeps herself so hyped, and you guys so hyped. So it's really fun to watch backstage, because it's actually, I don't know, I never have watched casters cast live very much, because I'm always watching the game, and I was actually watching you instead of the game for part of the time, because it was like, it's like watching someone give a dance performance or something, it's like very interpretive.
I'm always a very animated person, so when I get, and especially the more excited about something I get, the more I start using my hands, like my whole body starts getting into it, so I just really start using my hands, and a lot of people really like to when, like maybe I'm standing and a really cool play happens, like America's Championship, if you guys remember, we had the Sonia that left in the Void prison, and it was just like, she looked so awesome standing there. I jump up and down. I'm like full on jumping up and down because I love what's happening so much. So it is really fun. I do like watching other casters.
It's been fun too because we've worked with this crew a couple times now, because Yellow Light Live and ESL together have kind of seen us through the road to BlizzCon, and so we're starting to see people we know, and they know a lot about our habits and our needs, and they're anticipating a lot of things. Like, they know that I'm a super picky eater, and so they'll specifically like bring me little snacks and stuff, which is really awesome. Or like, they know that Gilly is going to sit a little lower in the chair than everyone else, so they'll get her a higher chair so she looks the same height as everyone.
Yeah,
which was
and they
awesome.
get used to I never have my mic in the right place. So there was a new sound guy this time. I was like, hey, just so you know, right off the bat, you're going to have to get used to the 2 hand signals, which is either move it up or move it closer to your mouth, because you will do that every single game. It will be in the wrong place every game. And he did. He'd come over and it'd be like this, and then I'd do it, and he'd just start laughing. Because I know that I do it. I do it every time. I don't know why, but I just have this phobia of this mic being right in front of my face. I don't know.
Well, what do you think are kind of, I would say, the biggest highlights or the biggest challenges of the experience of being here in the studio? Not of the games themselves or anything, but big highlights for you.
Like highlights? Working with everybody?
Yeah, I think working with this crew has been really cool.
Personalities, yeah.
Because, I mean, these are all friends that we've met through esports, you know, like I've hung out with Grubby and Todd and Calaris and Babel before, but being all part of the same crew has been really fun because there's kind of bonds that form.
Yeah, and especially coming from StarCraft, starting out in StarCraft, and like being a huge fan of Calaris and Grubby and Todd and their casting, and then to actually be on the same team as them, like a talent team, is amazing. Obviously, a highlight is being on the same talent team as you, because it was so much fun in Vegas, and it's been a blast to be on it too.
And I won't take us too far down this road because we do this a lot, but this is where the like, hey, thank you guys part comes in, because if you've been watching our show since the beginning, you know that actually, see, I'm going to get emotional.
I'm doing it too. It's happening too.
Team. Yeah, but when we started this show, this was the goal, was for us to be at BlizzCon doing Heroes of the Storm, and here we are. So that is largely in part to those of you who have kept us going on this broadcast and have said encouraging things both about our casting and about just being on this show and being a community. So I won't harp on it, but a huge thank you to you, and that in and of itself is a highlight, because there have been quite a few times where both of us together, or even me, like I remember I kind of just like squatted down in the middle of the studio and I was looking around and thinking about how working in a professional studio environment like this, being on these kind of cameras, working with this level of producers and technology is something, before I even knew what esports was, that was something I wanted as a kid. And so to be doing that and esports at the same time, I took a moment to just like drink that in, and it's one of those like picture, you know, you take that mind picture and it just stays with you, like that's in the bank right there.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your support and helping us get here. Like Anna said, just the fact that you guys have kept us going with the show and been supporting us there, sending us comments, just watching every week, and, you know, having us have a reason to keep going with it, as well as casting for Heroes Hype 2, giving us encouraging words there. And even, you know, when you tweet things at Heroes and say, you know, that you enjoy having us there, they pay attention to that stuff. And I know it's been a really tough journey sometimes, so having you guys there and you know, knowing that you guys are there and supporting us has really kept us going and getting here. We started the show right before BlizzCon last year.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're a little more than a year old. We had a touchy-feely broadcast on our year anniversary, so the problem is we tend to get like this for any reason. but yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And
it was really important to us to have this episode.
Yeah.
We really wanted to make this work. I'm glad that you were able to bring all the equipment. Thank you for doing that, because not only is it the first time we get to do this together, we were talking about that. How crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't
cool that weird that in over a year we've never done an episode where we sit next to each other ever?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
We're next to each other, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other side to this that I don't know how long we want to spend talking about it, but it's really crazy to be in the same physical proximity to all of these people that I work with and hang out with online so much. People that I count as, like really, really close friends like you, Gilly, but that we spend most of our time, we hang out. Like after the show, a lot of times we just hang out online. And
we get our dogs.
Yeah, our dogs. Our dogs are in a long distance Skype relationship.
It's very serious.
We let them chat with each other. But it's really cool to get a new medium of communication, I guess, and be able to just kind of, I don't know, non-verbally communicate in different ways too.
Mm-hmm.
But
speaking on that too, if you guys are coming to BlizzCon, we definitely want to meet you or re-meet you if we've met you before. So please feel free to come up to us. I mean, not like when we're doing the event. That'd probably not be a good time. But otherwise,
right.
Please feel free to come up to us because we want to talk with you. Mm-hmm. And thank you.
Yeah, we'll give you more insight too into like what BlizzCon looks like by the end of this show. That'll be near our sign off. We'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing at BlizzCon and where you can find us. But I was thinking it'd be good too because these episodes are sometimes really just hypey, like, oh, it's great that we're here. These are so many good things, but there are kind of challenges, like hard things about doing these too. So I thought maybe it would be cool to talk about those a little bit. Like for me, one of the challenges this time has been that I have been a caster in the past. I love talking about heroes. I take pretty detailed notes of every match, and I really love the opportunity to kind of pick the brains of these players and talk to them about the matches. And being an interviewer is probably, I would call that my biggest strength in esports, I think.
Yeah.
And so I really like contributing that to the broadcast, but when we get behind, interviews are the first thing to get cut. So yesterday, 3 of the coolest matches I didn't get to really participate in, and so I totally understand why that is as a producer, why that happens, and that's my job. I'm there to be the host and to drive the action however it ends up being. But as someone who's put so much time into this game and not being on the casting team and having that as my way to like really experience heroes for myself, that was a challenge for me, was kind of just being like, okay, I can still be here and enjoy this and contribute even if it's not the way that I thought I was going to be. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but I think every challenge has a kind of like, what does that mean for the future? What am I going to do to overcome that challenge? And I think aside from just, again, recognizing the value of my role, because I'm the only one doing it. I'm the only host this time. So I have to be on and excited about whatever comes my way, and I'm proud of that. But I think also it motivates me even more to have more opportunities to cast in official capacity next year. And so,
yes.
Yeah. So I think, and I really love being a host, so I don't think I'd want to be like only a caster instead of a host, because I do think there's value to that role that a lot of people underestimate. But I would like more chances, just like we had with casting the opens even, or those things. So it motivates me that after BlizzCon, when I finally get to be at my house for a while, to like sit down and do some more studying and really analyze all these matches, because it's the first time we're going to have a set like this of global matches that we can really look at and evaluate the meta and how it's evolving in the game. And we've talked a lot about studying afterwards too. So that's the benefit, is that it already has me excited about heroes for after BlizzCon.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work put in, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's either going to go two ways, where you put in a lot of work and you're like, I need a break, or you put in a lot of work and you see where it's going and you can see where it can continue to go, and you're like, I want to keep going. I want to keep doing this. So that's a good positive outcome. Plus, I like casting with you.
Yeah, I know.
So that would be fun too.
I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think our chemistry as casters is pretty good.
I mean, we've known each other for a while.
Yeah, and actually I was thinking, we were talking about being here physically in person, and one of the challenges for you was you actually almost had no voice during the first
So,
cast.
yeah, I know a lot of you guys knew that I got sick last weekend. I thought it was a cold, and it probably was just a cold initially, but in the midst of traveling and rehearsing, it was mostly better. I was definitely better than I had been, but during rehearsals, the first day of rehearsals, my voice just was all but gone. So it was really scary, because I was really scared that I was going to get matches cut. And I knew that I had the potential to cast Navi versus DK, and I was like, I'm not giving that up.
Yeah.
That's going to be so good, and it was. So Tuesday I went to the doctor and was able to get some antibiotics. I thought maybe I had like a sinus infection, and then also got some pills that were supposed to help with my throat, but I really had to stay off of like on vocal rest as much as possible, so I didn't really get to do much rehearsing other than kind of blocking, being at the desk, kind of talking a little bit with the other commentators that I was going to be on with, to just figure out, you know, what we were going to start talking about during those times. But so that was definitely a difficulty. I would say another one that is one that we've talked about at length is just the idea in general of feeling outside of, you know, everyone else. It's something that I don't blame anybody else for. In terms of like the other commentators like on the team, they have been just from the beginning very welcoming to me, and more than, you know, pepping me up, telling me good job, you know, helping me improve. They've been the most amazing team to work with, and bringing you in, of course, has only strengthened that. But just being, you know, for the Opens initially the only female at all, and then still the only female commentator, just sometimes I really have to tell myself, like, no, I belong here. I put the work into, even though it's like people who I've been watching commentate for a long time, and it's weird because I'm a fan of them, but at the same time a colleague with them too. So it's something that Anna and I like have talked about a lot. It's been, you know, a difficult thing for me at nearly every event, but it definitely is getting easier. And of course, after it goes well, like working with people it's really good, and seeing like good comments, you know, always makes me feel better about everything. So yeah, it's been nice to have you here.
It's been nice to have you here too. Yeah, you know, we obviously mention at the beginning of each show that this is a channel that's devoted to uplifting women role models in geek and gaming culture, and I think it's an important thing. Like, we don't like to harp on the negatives or the difficulties of being the only woman in a lot of rooms in esports, but I guess I would say it's important for you to know that we both deal with that feeling, that kind of imposter syndrome of like, maybe I don't belong here, or maybe I didn't work hard enough. And so I guess I want you to know, if you think that we're doing a good job, that we feel the same way, so you must be doing a good job, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, I mean, I wasn't even at the Opens, and I'm not even a commentator, and I'm one of two women. So I'm looking at you guys like, maybe they don't want to hang out with me, or like, maybe I don't deserve to give my thoughts on this game, because maybe I'm not like one of the top analysts that are here to do that, you know. And so
yeah, we sat down at Vegas, and I was like, Anna, I know you know a lot about this game, so I want you to bring it.
And actually, that's a really good point, is that I wasn't doing my job to the peak of my ability in Vegas, because I thought because I got too deep in my own head that I wasn't the one who deserved to give that analysis. But then it was actually Gilly who was like, hey, you're not giving half of what I know you know on stage. Like, you need to start talking more about the analysis that you give, just to the audience and then in your interviews, and that helps a lot. So that there's another one, is that not only are you not alone, but please reach out to other women in the industry and start making those networks, because you need, and not even only other women, this is for everyone. Just make sure you have supportive people who are going to tell you, like, you're doing a good job, and I know you can do an even better job, and you shouldn't give up, that kind of thing.
You know, you speak on that, saying that it's not even just, you know, other women, and I had no idea at Vegas, but Babel actually talked to me and said, I just sometimes feel like you guys have this group, and I feel sometimes outside of it. And I said, Babel, I feel the same way. And it's just solely because he came in a little bit later, and like, he feels, because he's from a different region, he was feeling that way. And it's completely 100% in your own head. You have to get out of that. That's one of my biggest difficulties too, especially in casting. So I totally get that, and it's just something that you kind of have to tell yourself, like, no, I do deserve to be here. Quit it, brain. Go away.
Yeah, and be willing to have those kind of like scary conversations with other people that are like, do you mind if I come in and talk to you about this, or do you mind if I sit with you? You know, like those kinds of things, or you know, taking another member aside and being like, I think this about this. What do you think? You know. Those conversations are scary, but they're so worthwhile, because I think a lot of times we talk ourselves into what we think another person thinks of us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I
mind
think,
games.
Yeah, I think that he really doesn't want to cast with me because he's giving me these vibes, like, you know, he wishes I wasn't here. But then when you go up and say, like, hey, you know, I want to talk about our casting together. I'm really excited about it. Do you have anything that you want to talk about? And they're like, oh, I'm so glad because I was scared. I thought you didn't want to cast with me. You know, like that kind of stuff. So, I mean, this gets into like a lot of the communication theory and a lot of the things that we find really exciting. But in the context of esports, I hope that those of you who watch this show because it's about people wanting to be involved in esports and be role models and work really hard and find success in esports, that you'll be encouraged by that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we should transition into actually talking about the games.
We could do that.
Yeah. So, in case you have not been following along, this is the World Championship. So, all of the 8 teams that qualified from the regions all over the world are here to represent their regions. We've got Cloud9 and Tempo Storm from NA, which you're probably most familiar with because if you tuned into Misscliks, we casted a lot of the American Opens, so you saw those 2 teams a lot. Mm-hmm. Then there's Na'Vi and Dignitas from Europe. There is YL and Braveheart from China, which is an interesting story, actually, because Braveheart was actually the 3rd place team, but because of visa issues, they got to come. The 1st place team, unfortunately, had to not make it, but only 2 of them could get visas, and then 2 of, I think it was the 4th place team, right? EDG was
3 of the 4th place team.
Yeah. So 3 of the 4th place team, 2 of the 3rd place team joined forces to represent China under the name Braveheart for China. And then we had GIA from Taiwan and Team DK from Korea. So all of them are here, and every single one of them played in our opening week broadcast yesterday.
Yeah, but the nice thing was there were no elimination matches.
Right.
The way they could play it out was they got enough games that they needed to get done because Heroes of the Storm shares the stage with World of Warcraft. So they have to be able to schedule it. They can't do a full days of broadcast. And generally, with 8 teams playing, if you want to cast every single match, you have to have 2 full days. So the nice thing is everybody still gets to play at least 1 match at actual BlizzCon. That's cool. But we do open up with 2 elimination matches too. So we get right in on the scary matches, which is also pretty cool.
Which is really fun caster and audience-wise because there's like so much on the line right away. Instead of it just being like, oh, this is some fun wake-up matches to watch. No, we're getting right on there.
You better be on time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the matches that did happen for those of you who either did or didn't tune in. Do you want to go match by match or should we just talk about highlights?
We can try to go match by match. Already my brain is like foggy.
You have to forgive us because we're going, we had slides to show you, but it's actually a miracle that we have the setup working the way we do right now. So forgive us for not having any visual interest besides our faces. And we'll do it from memory. We don't have any of our notes with us, but this is, you know, this is raw, intimate, friendly. This is just you and us. It's in private time.
It is.
Yeah. First match was Cloud9.
Cloud9 and GIA.
GIA.
And I was super impressed by GIA.
Were you?
Well, they really brought it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cloud9 looked a little scary. Like, looked scary for them a couple of times, too. I think what I was most impressed about GIA is their ability to... A lot of times we see teams try to take on Tempo Storm and Cloud9, and if they do win a team fight, then they don't do much with it. They might just move around and take a couple of merc camps, but overall it doesn't really affect the impact of their position in the game. They're still very far behind. But every time GIA was able to meaningfully like take out some members, steal a boss, there was a really big boss steal.
Yeah.
They made so much happen with that, and I thought that was a really cool mark of both just really decisive decision making, great shot calling from them, and then also just the ability to stay calm and cool considering the fact that they are jet lagged across the world, playing on what I mentioned before, kind of a different stage, and then going up against a team who looks pretty scary. Could win the whole thing for sure.
Yeah, I came into this with very few expectations in terms of the cross-region play because I just, like you were saying to me earlier, Gilly, it's like you can study the metas all you want, but until you actually see them against each other, it's only theory crafting, right? So there's any manner of surprises that could happen. So it was a very pleasant surprise or outcome, I guess, that although that was, I think, a 2-0, it was not easy. It was not, because in most competitions, at least at the beginning stages, you'll see a few very decisive stomp, you know? And there were some stompy games, but there were no stompy series, I don't think. This was like really, they put up a really good fight, they were really good games, and just Cloud9 earned their spot in the top in that match, which I thought was really, really fun to watch. And GIA is kind of fun too, because I think I think you're right. They were saying that they're kind of up against this being out of their element type feeling. And a couple of their videos even mentioned that they kind of felt a little fragmented, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like. So it'll be interesting to see what they pull together for BlizzCon. But if we're talking predictions, I don't feel like they're one of the strongest contenders.
No, definitely not. I think looking at the teams from that group, only 2 teams make it out of each group, of course, and Cloud9's already made it out.
Yeah.
So looking at who we have left, we have Team Dignitas, we have YL, and then we have GIA. And so it'll be YL and GIA, pretty sure, who will be in one of the first elimination matches. And that could be, I think that's going to be potentially a very good series. And then I think even the next one, YL and Dignitas, had a pretty good, I'm trying to remember that series.
It's so hard. It was just yesterday, and I'm like just desperate for my notes because I remember writing these things down because I knew I wouldn't remember them today.
Yeah.
But
you always get foggy brain after events because it's just so draining to be at them, especially, and be on for that long of time. It takes
and you
a couple
use
of
up all your
days.
adrenaline stores to make your brain sharper, and then the next day everything's fuzzy. Sorry. But so
yeah, definitely
Cloud9,
I think it looks probably like Team Dignitas.
So then the next match was, let me see if I can remember.
That was YL and Dignitas.
It
Because
was.
they just went down,
You're right. I'm so glad you remember.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we switched over to Group B. And so, which one did we start with? Was it Na'Vi and Braveheart? I think it was Na'Vi and Braveheart, yeah.
I thought it was DK. But
And Tempo Storm? Why did Na'Vi and Braveheart... Oh, wait, no, you're right. It was DK and Tempo Storm.
yeah, DK and Tempo Storm, which I think that was the match I was the most excited for. And I really enjoyed that match. I was sad because, of course, my bias is towards NA teams. And a lot of us were talking about this. We mentioned how all of the commentators are from a StarCraft background, which was really refreshing because usually Gilly and I will preface something, well, of course, coming from a StarCraft background, I blah, blah, blah. But we're all from StarCraft backgrounds. So it was really cool to see things that way. And this is kind of unfair, but we've seen so many tournaments where nobody stands a chance against a Korean team. Nobody stands a chance. And so DK coming in, and then of course in their interview videos. Yeah, in their interview videos. And this is kind of it's kind of a Korean pro gamer thing because it's a good thing for the broadcast for them to be a little cocky and throw out some good trash talk. It was great. But they specifically said, we're not worried about any of these other teams. We think that all of the best competition was in Korea. Everyone should just try to have fun because we're going to walk home with the trophy. Like, they said it that flat out. And so...
I love them!
It was awesome. It was super awesome because it gives you something to play with in your mind as you watch the match. And so it was really cool then to see Tempo Storm give them such a run for their money because... I was almost convinced that they just had this magical Korean mojo that was going to completely steamroll everybody. And I think maybe they were too. I feel like I watched them play a little sloppy because they thought it would be easier.
Yeah, I think they definitely played overconfidently.
Yeah. So it was 2-1. And the last game was...
But we got to talk about that one for Tempo Storm. Because when they won it... And I think they showed, well, yeah, they had to have shown because we got to see we were sitting in the back in the break room, and you showed this biggest grin on Dreadnought's face.
That was amazing.
And all of us, there's so many of us, were like, that makes us so happy. We got tears in our eyes. I got a little teary-eyed for sure, just because, obviously there's been some issues with them. And Zoya talked about it on Town Hall Heroes, and then there's been some articles and just the difficulties for them as a team. But we still love them. We still want to root for them, and we want them to succeed because they're home team advantage, but also they've been working their butts off to be here. They kind of got slighted. Not even slighted, but they just weren't invited because they were Blizzard was trying to build up, big names, big esports names for the Invitational last BlizzCon, and so Symbio wasn't there, and ever since then they have been vying to get back to here. Yeah. So I really hope that kind of lit a fire underneath them.
And I think all of them, regardless of kind of the challenges that you mentioned, feel really excited about playing on stage at BlizzCon, because even just playing on stage at BlizzCon is such an honor as a pro gamer in a Blizzard franchise, I feel like. So I think they're all really excited about that, and I think we saw a lot of people were kind of whispering the like, Symbiote's back, I see Symbiote. And I think they found something in that game. So I'm excited. Who knows? Maybe the challenges they're facing are going to hold them back too much and we're not going to see too much more out of them. But just maybe we saw something that was like this spark that will at least just carry them to the end of this saga before whatever comes next.
At the very least, I loved that they returned to the tempo style. The 3 backlines, including a Zeratul. We had Zeratul, right? But it was, a lot of times people talk about how Zeratul's kind of played like a ranged assassin because he goes in and out. But they really returned to the tempo style, and whether it was, I think you mentioned this, maybe threw off DK, or just the fact that they felt so strong and feel so good and comfortable in that, and it maybe takes them back to a place where they were just rocking as a team. It was awesome to see. I was really excited. It like took me back.
Yeah.
It was neat.
It was cool too, because I allow myself to be convinced that the Americas region doesn't stand up against other regions in esports very easily. And so I was preparing myself emotionally, at least subconsciously, to come here and be like, our guys tried. They tried real hard. They didn't, You're
so used to StarCraft.
Yeah. And they're really, Cloud9 is very dominant looking, and Tempo Storm put up a great fight against one of the favorite teams, so they're doing really well. There's still definitely a chance. And then, of course, we haven't talked about the Na'Vi match yet.
All right, we had Na'Vi versus Braveheart. It was the first one that I got to do commentary for, although I will say I got to do the first time analyzing, which I had a blast with. That was really fun.
I think you're really good at that.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
It's really neat. I get to talk about drafting, which is one of my favorite things, and then I get to talk about one specific thing that was really excited me, which is another thing that I really enjoy doing.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, it was unfortunate, I think, for Braveheart to come in and have to face Na'Vi, who definitely looks like one of the strongest teams here, coming in and not having a lot of practice together. But I'm hopeful that they will still be in a good mindset and have a lot more time to practice with each other before BlizzCon now, and can maybe at least give us a really good show with Tempo Storm. It's hard for me to be like, well, hopefully they'll bring it back, because they're up against Tempo Storm.
Yeah, and we did talk a lot about that, like, pressure or lack thereof for them of, they are really, it sounds from the interviews we've done with them like they're really interested in representing their region. They really want to make their home proud. But also when you're part of this kind of patchwork team, there's a little bit of a, we'll just do our best. We'll do what we can, because this team's been practicing together like 2 weeks.
Yeah. They did say that they at least were online friends, so they knew each other, but he said something to the effect of, because we were able to talk to them and Babel translated, said something to the effect that they don't go out and get drinks together or something like that. So,
well, maybe that's good. Maybe they're just professional colleagues,
Yeah.
So then the 2 last matches of the day were
Probably the best.
The big matches, the winners' matches. And the first one was Cloud9 versus Foggy Brain.
Team Dignitas. Yeah.
Dignitas. Which was awesome. Good series. Any highlights from that series for you?
The dunk train roar.
That was so cool. You guys probably didn't hear or see that, but can you, describe it?
So, it was a close series. It was a very close series. I'm pretty sure it was 2-1, right?
I think so.
It was just very close, and it was nail-biting for us sitting back in the break room, because again, a lot of us are from the North American region. But there were some Europeans sitting back there too, so it was kind of like a
Todd was playing the European bias and we were playing the North American bias.
It was pretty fun, but yeah, it was edge of seat. The whole series was crazy, and at the end they knew they had it. They were yelling so loud, and Dunk Train just turns to Team Dignitas, because he's on the end, and just like roars.
Like,
his mouth was like so wide open. He looked like a snake who was about to unhinge his jaw. Actually, what it really looked like, because they showed it again after, before we went to break, but there was no sound. So it just looked like he was really tired and had the biggest yawn. It was like, it was crazy.
Yeah, that match was crazy because it was unpredictable as we were going through all 3 games, and then so was the Na'Vi match with Team DK, because this was really crazy. The last match of the day, we're all so tired, we're all so loopy, and everyone's like going through the motions, you know. And we get to this match 3, game 3, we see it looks like DK is gonna take it. It's pretty certain at that point. So everyone gets into position. Like, the analyst is back at the desk. I'm on stage ready to do the closing remarks for the night. We don't even do an interview because we're so behind. Like, we're ready to close the show. And then all of a sudden, I'm standing there. I can't see any of the monitors. At this point, I've checked out of the game because I have to be ready to, as soon as it's over, be ready to speak. And I start hearing Na'Vi just, just like these screams of, Babel was saying screams of ecstasy. And it was kind of that, and also just these like primal, guttural, like expressions, like warrior yells or something. They were just nuts. They were just screaming. And so I kind of was like, what's going on? I go around to one of the monitors. I go off my mark and look, and they're starting to turn the game.
Do you know what's crazy to me now that I think about the fact that you're up there and the analyst is up there too? The teams saw you guys resign because you have to go up there, so they basically know that you think, okay, it's over. Yeah. And yet there's still Na'Vi is still like, oh my gosh, I can't even talk.
It was
like they're
so
still
good.
Like they still turn it. It was one of the greatest games I've ever gotten to cast in my entire life.
If you guys haven't, if you had to go to bed before that match, which a lot of people did,
understandable.
I would recommend going back and watching those games, at least the last one. The last one was so fun to watch. So that would be, I would assume you agree that if you're going to watch one game from that, it would be that one, the last one.
Yeah.
Which is great for a broadcast day. That, like, rarely ever happens, that the best match is at the end with a big boom finale.
I know. And, Todd, like, he comes up on stage after Na'Vi wins. He's just got the biggest grin on his face. I look over and he's just like, he's so happy. He is so happy. One of the best parts, too, was when we got in the shuttle after on the way home. And we were in a shuttle with, like, all of Na'Vi. Mm-hmm. So we actually got to sit and talk to them about that match. And they said that what their mindset was, okay, just get to 10 and then we'll win a fight. And then they're like, okay, just get to 13 and we'll win a fight. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, just get to 16 and we'll win a fight. Yeah. And that's when things started to finally work. But, man, they clawed their way back. It reminds me of, there was a game that I think you and I casted for Heroes Hype where all the keeps were down.
Yes.
At Dragonshire.
Yes.
And I don't even remember who it was, but was it Gaming Team Gaming?
That sounds right. First Team Blaze.
It was Wild Growth, maybe.
Oh.
It was Wild Growth.
Yes.
Yeah, all the keeps were down, and somehow they came back and they won it. Like, that is the kind of game that you want to cast, especially the last game of the day. Mm-hmm. So good.
Ugh, that was great. Well, we could probably just geek out over those matches forever, but we'll probably, I assume, try to give you like some deeper analysis and highlights when we get home, when we don't have fuzzy brain and we have notes and everything. But we are still headed for lots more matches, so there's plenty more highlights to come, and we're going to BlizzCon, and we're actually here in Burbank/Anaheim for a few days before we go to BlizzCon and start doing rehearsals and get into that broadcast. But we wanted to tell you a little bit about what that's going to look like, so if you want to tune in or if you're going to be at BlizzCon, you can come hang out with us. Where should we start, the live event or the broadcast?
So, what do you mean the broadcast?
I guess live event, because there's not a whole lot to say about the broadcast, really.
Oh, okay. So, we will be around because we'll be there for rehearsals. So, I know there's some things happening Thursday evening before BlizzCon. I will be the plan, I guess I should say this, to be at Calm Before the Storm. Initially, I was supposed to host it, and I was really looking forward to that. But with rehearsals, it's not possible that I can do both. But I'm still supposed to be there for like an autograph signing with Jake, I think. And that will be on, I think it's like at 10 p.m. at the Con Before the Storm / World of Podcast event. But we'll be around there. We also, I think, are looking at potentially another Heroes Hype meetup too. Mm-hmm. TGN Squadron at one point was talking about some sort of meetup. So we'll try to make whatever we can. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the broadcast, we're looking at, because we mentioned sharing a stage with World of Warcraft, I believe it's the second half of Saturday, or Friday, and then the first half of Saturday.
Mm-hmm. In fact, there is a schedule online that actually, if one of the mods, I see you, Desto, you've been linking us, I really appreciate that. If you maybe could throw the BlizzCon schedule in the chat if you see it somewhere. The BlizzCon schedule is out there, and it does show we are sharing the stage with World of Warcraft, which at first glance was like, why don't we have our own stage? But the World of Warcraft team, by the way, is amazing. I got to work with them. I didn't do Heroes for EU Road to BlizzCon. I did World of Warcraft hosting, and they were just so welcoming and really excited about their game, and they're really cool. So I would recommend, if you want to just like have something cool to watch, check them out too. And there's StarCraft going on at the same time, and Hearthstone as well.
Can't wait to see the StarCraft stage.
Yeah, the StarCraft stage is rumored to be the same stage as last time, but with improvements.
Oh my gosh,
and you guys
how
saw
could you
that stage.
improve that?
I know.
Okay.
It's amazing. So we'll be on stage, but all of that is to say that since we're sharing a stage, we're not going to be on stage all the time. So please do hang out with us on Twitter and things if you want to come say hi. We really love meeting all of you guys, and especially hearing that you watch the show. Any feedback you want to give or anything you want to say to us is totally welcome. And also, I know some of you ordered your Eye on the Storm t-shirts from our Teespring campaign. I don't have mine yet. I'm really nervous that I might not get mine in time. I'm hoping that it'll arrive tomorrow and my husband can bring it when he comes. But I hope that you'll wear yours. And if you can't come to BlizzCon, please tweet pictures at Misscliks of you in your Eye on the Storm shirts during BlizzCon and let us know you're wearing them, because we're really excited to see all you guys supporting.
Yes! Please come hang out with us. It's going to be a good time. I cannot believe that BlizzCon is nearly upon us again.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as when we'll be on for the schedule, I don't think that's quite out yet. So we'll make sure to try to. I'm really bad about tweeting when I'm about to cast, because I kind of get in the zone where I don't really want to be looking at social media. I really like to get last minute studying in, but we'll try to make sure. I really liked that you tweeted when I was up there. That made me happy.
You just looked so awesome and professional.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I just did see that schedule. Thank you so much, Desto, for posting that. But Gilly was correct. We're starting at 4 p.m. on Friday with the Heroes broadcast, and we'll go till pretty late, depending on how long the games go. We didn't think our broadcast this time was going to go that late, because Heroes is usually a little bit more on the 2-0s side, but that was not the case here.
Just to test to how amazing amazingly close in skill the teams are, and that is going to make for an awesome BlizzCon.
Yes, so 4 to 10 on Friday, and then it looks like 9:45 until about 3. Our World Championship final will be at 3 p.m. Will end at 3 p.m. on Saturday. So we hope you see you guys there, and then outside of that, let us know, and we'll let you know if we're walking around. I do tweet during events, so I'll try to be Gilly's manager and tell you when she's out and about and where you might be able to find her.
I'll make sure to look when I'm not, when I'm done with casting or something like that. It's always, I worry about, getting into my own head.
Yeah. That's understandable. That pro gaming, commentating, on-stage performance in general, it's such a mental game. You have to do weird things to keep yourself mentally prepared, like wearing energy bracelets, like Gilly and I.
Yeah, Anna let me borrow her energy bracelet. I was so happy.
Which don't mean anything other than that they say energy on the tag, so...
I don't know if it was that or the 1 cup of coffee and 3 Red Bulls that I drank throughout yesterday.
3 Red Bulls yesterday?
It was a 12-hour broadcast, and I was on the second and the final match. I was so spread out.
Are you okay?
I drank a lot of water today. A lot. Did you see me consume water earlier?
Yes. I sat down with Gilly for lunch. She had water with a straw, and she went, and I turned away and turned back, and it was done.
I had to drink so much Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. So the review of what we talked about today was just our experience with the live broadcast at opening weekend. We talked about the games and some of the highlights there. Very esoterically, I don't know, out there. And then, of course, tease what's going on at BlizzCon. And I don't think it's likely, in fact, it's nearly nearly a 0% chance we'll have a show next week. What do you think? Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't do that, but what we will bring you is lots and lots of pictures on Twitter. And I think Misscliks will be retweeting those as well. So if you want to follow Misscliks on Twitter, you can keep up with us there. And then we always promise you that we're going to Periscope from events, and then we never do.
So we might. It's the best
I'm
we
going
can
to give
do.
you a 50-50 on that one. And if you nag us to do it, we will
try
to remember.
I want to explain the Red Bulls really fast.
Sure.
I think
Go
it was
ahead.
2.
Okay.
First of all.
I was
now
worried.
that I'm thinking,
3 is a lot.
I don't
2
think,
is like a little bit.
I just had one before each match.
Gotcha.
And it was mainly because I don't usually drink that much caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was mainly because I had been sick. And so the kind of the fuzzy brain syndrome was still in.
Yeah. I think you performed remarkably.
Thank you.
Regardless.
How many Red Bulls did you have?
I had no Red Bulls. I do not drink Red Bull. If I were to drink an energy drink, it would of course be Monster Energy. But no, I can't have caffeine. Gilly knows that I can't have caffeine. She's teasing me. I actually just like the molecules in my body start vibrating so hard that I actually disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to spend a whole day reanimating myself. So it's not worth it. But anyway, that's pretty much it. This, like I said, this is a vlog style episode. Let us know what you thought of that. I don't know that we'll do episodes like this in the future, but we got the opportunity this time, so maybe if we're at an event again, we might do something like this. If you let us know,
hopefully
that
we're
you
at
like
more
it.
events again together. Cool.
I think you should just come live with me. Is my answer to this. Just bring your husband and your dog. It's fine.
Our dogs could be real life romance instead of over Skype.
Our dogs are in love, but that's a story for another day, team. Yes. So exciting news though for tonight for Misscliks. I am so stoked because recently we achieved our goal of having at least one show every day of the week, Monday through Friday. If you guys haven't checked out all of those shows, please do check them out. They're listed in the description here, but we've got an indie game show, a tabletop show that Gilly does, a Dungeons & Dragons live gameplay show, a show about making costumes and doing performing arts, this show, and we are adding a new show right after this show. So in the future, as soon as we're done, you'll have another show to watch if you like. It's called Gutsy, and it's a Let's Play horror game series with Lucy and Stephanie, two of our, Stephanie Powell you've seen around. She's Misscliks in chat. You've talked to her a lot. It's her and Lucy, and she's going to be on camera this time, which is really exciting. So if you like to watch people be scared and tease them and play horror games along with people, it should be a really good time. So I hope you'll tune into them tonight. Usually we would feed right into them, but tonight, since we're ending early, it's going to be a little bit of a wait. But I hope you guys hang out on this channel, and it'll go live again pretty soon.
That's so awesome. I'm glad it's them and not me.
Yeah.
I don't deal well with scary games.
No.
But regardless, you guys should definitely follow us here if you haven't before on Twitch, on Misscliks that is, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Misscliks, Misscliks. We'd really appreciate it. As far as you specifically, Anna, where can people find you?
Well, right,
look
there,
at that.
right there.
The
That's
ESL
my
Studios?
name.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Is it?
Yeah, right there.
Oh.
It says at Anna Prosser.
Okay.
At Anna Prosser. On Twitter, that's the best place. Everything goes through there, but I've also been trying to do Instagram a lot more lately, and all of my social media you can find at annaprosser.com, my website, and looking forward to streaming and stuff when I get home again. So
What is home?
there is a home. There is a home somewhere, Gillyweed.
We've only been here since Sunday, right? And we have until after BlizzCon, Sunday, Monday after BlizzCon. So someday when we return streaming, you can find my stream at GillyweedSC2 as well as on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I do a lot with TGN Squadron as well as my table flipping board games here, which is on Friday nights. And there will be an episode tomorrow, although I won't be on it. You can still hang out with Ogre Yonder and Game Face Killa and my cousin Maggie. I don't even know if she has a handle. Yeah.
Maggers.
We're going to go with Maggers. So you can check that out too. The best way to know where I'm going to be, though, is Twitter. I always make sure to tweet on there. I try to make sure on Facebook too, but it's not quite as often. So Twitter's definitely the way to find me.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, you can find us on twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes on BlizzCon days, November 6th and 7th. You can see our faces and hear our words. I hope you will. And we hope we will see your digital faces and your words.
Yes. And thank you again for being awesome and supporting us and helping us get here, whether it's by convincing heroes to have us here or by convincing us that we should be here. We love you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, if you can't tell, we just don't want to leave you, so we're drawing this out. So,
Bye!